It is like in the morning also we were talking about this, if I give you a trillion-piece jigsaw, if you put 5 pieces together, you say this is a bear. If you get 8, you will say this is an elephant. If you get 12, you will say this is a dinosaur. If you get 15, maybe you will call it a whale. I don't know. Just arriving at conclusions every time we get a piece of information is not the way to conclude about what we are referring to as consciousness. Being conscious, you being conscious, let's use different words so that there is a distinction. Right now, let's say you're aware. I'm just replacing the word conscious, replacing the word conscious with being aware. You're aware. In the yogic sciences, we call this prajna. You are right now prajna. If you fall asleep, you are not conscious or you're not aware. Let's use the word awareness to make a distinction. But beyond intellect, this intellect, how it functions is operated by what we are identified with. Depending upon what we are identified with, accordingly the intellect veils itself. Right now, people are fighting for nationhood, people are fighting for religion, people are fighting for race, people are fighting for whatever they believe in, simply because they're identified with it and in their intellect this says, this is the way. There are no two ways about it. Two groups of people or two individuals, when they're quarreling, both of them believe this is it, otherwise they won't risk their life. Hello? When somebody pitches their life for something, you must believe that it matters to them and they believe that's it. Unfortunately, it is just that it is your identity which makes you use your intelligence in this form. So, there are various dimensions of memory which plays out through this identity. Beyond this, there is an intelligence which is unsullied by memory. This is what we refer to as chitta, and generally that's what I would understand as consciousness. You being aware is different, consciousness is different. What is the nature of this? Where does this come from? As I said, I have strived for a whole lifetime to remain uneducated. It's not easy, try and see. Try and see how your parental influence, your cultural influence, your religious influence, your whatever else is around you doesn't play in your mind at this moment. Try and see. Whichever way you try to think, it'll work because your thought works from data and data has come from all these sources. To be able to simply be here without allowing the data to play up in your mind, it takes a lot of work. So from that context, I'm saying, what we are referring to as consciousness is that which is the very basis of our creation. Well, somebody may call it God, it's up to them because they're trying to personalize that in their life. Because they can't relate to anything which is not in a human form, they're saying that. But there are so many people of Indian origin here, they have man god, they have woman god, they have cow god, they have snake god, they have monkey god, they have every crawling, creeping, every kind. Because according to wherever they were living, they made that into their god. Essentially, what they are looking for is personification of the source of what is happening. Because we cannot explain this source, because logically we cannot conclude, the only way is to experience. How will you experience? What are the different ways to experience? There are 4 aspects in yoga. This is called as karma, kriya, jnana, bhakti. What this means is, these are 4 dimensions of your existence. You have a physical body, so through action you can realize certain things. You have an intelligence. Through your intelligence, you can realize certain things. If you realize through your action, we call this karma yoga. If you realize through your intelligence, we call this jnana yoga. If you realize through your emotion, we call this bhakti yoga, yoga of devotion or emotion. If you realize by transforming your inner energies, we call this kriya yoga. These are the only 4 things you can do no matter what you do, whether you do religion or you do intellectual stuff, you do education, you do devotion, you do whatever. You can use your body or your mind or your emotion or your energy. This is all that's happening, these 4 things. All these 4 are pathways. But at the same time, is there anybody here who is just one big body and don't have a mind or don't have an emotion or energy? No, we are a combination of these four things. Why are we so different? Because we are a unique combination of these four things. In one person, the body may be dominant, in another person, their emotions may be dominant, in another person, their intellect may be dominant. Each person has a different mix of the same things, but these four things are the possibility of knowing. So what we are referring to as consciousness is that aspect of creation which is intelligent but unsullied by memory. Without memory, it doesn't have an intent, it doesn't manifest. Without memory, it doesn't have a direction, it's just there. If it finds little memory, it finds expression. Oh, where is the proof? Well, I am the proof. Because if you want to prove everything with logical steps, as I said, logic is the foundation of our living here, but foundation is not the place to live. So, first of all, if we separate what is awareness and what is consciousness, I think a lot of these different opinions will go away. About a miracle, well, those who want to enjoy their life, appreciate life and really experience life, they will look everything from a magical eye. Those who want to dissect life, they will look at it from a logical aspect of life. It's not a question of right and wrong, it's just two different ways of doing the same thing.
Jananam sukadham Maranam karunam Milanam maduram Smaranam Kalavashadiha Sakalam Karunam Samayadipate Akilam Karunam.
Every day, the period from 6:20 to 6:30 p.m. is an opportunity to experience Sadhguru's presence and establish a special contact with him. You can experience Sadhguru's presence during this period at your local time, irrespective of your physical location. The presence time also involves the Brahmananda Swarupa chant, a consecrated sound.
Here, the Yoga Center, we invested a certain amount of energy, a phenomenal amount of energy, that even if you're like a stone, we can shake your spine a little bit. We can have you reverberating, no matter who you are. If with little willingness if you come. If you come with unwillingness, we are willing to work with you. So we invested energies, and particularly for those of you who are little resembling rocks, I'm not saying rocks in a negative way, you know you're rock. That's not negative. You rock is just grammatically wrong, so I'm saying you are like a rock. Even if you are like a rock, well, we set up times of the day. Morning, evening, we set up times because many of you don't see a morning in your life. I'm not talking to those people who live here, we make sure they see the morning. Those of you who come from other places and those of you who are on the live stream, if you've not seen a sunrise, I don't want to disturb your lifestyle. So evening, 6:20, we have set a time. At that particular time, there is a certain concentration of energy. Particularly if you've been initiated, it'll be very strong. Even otherwise, if you use some kind of thought, emotion, image to get connected to this space, we can see that that particular time works for you as a strong presence. So, between 6:20 and 6:40, these 20 minutes, all this costs life. We've invested a certain amount of, certain dimension of energy. Whatever time zones you are, your local time, 6:20, morning or evening, you could become available to this. We will spend a few minutes in this presence, keep your hands open, eyes closed, slightly upturned face. Kannu moodi ukkaandu konjam mukham mel mukhama vechi kannu moodi ukkaandukalam. மனிதனா இருந்தாலும் கொஞ்சம், அதுக்கு கம்மியா இருந்தாலும் பண்ணிக்கலாம். என்னதுக்கு என்ன, கொஞ்சம் பேர் அந்த சின்ன செடி மேலே ஏற உட்காந்துக்கிறாங்களா, அவருக்கெல்லாம் சொல்றேன் நான். கண்ணு மூடி உட்காந்துக்கலாமே, கொஞ்சம் பரிமாண செயல் நடந்துடும். Say this after me very gently, மெதுவா கொஞ்சம். என் பின்ன சொல்லலாம், என் கூட வேண்டாம், என் பின்ன சொல்லுங்க. பிரம்மானந்த ஸ்வரூபா ईशा जगदीशा अखिलानंद स्वरूपा
Isha Mahesha Brahmananda Swarupa Isha Jagadisha Akilananda Swarupa 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 Isha Mahesha Brahmananda Swarupa Isha Jagadisha Akhilananda Swarupa Isha Mahesha Brahmananda Swarupa Isha Jagadisha Akhilananda Swarupa Isha Mahesha Brahmananda Swarupa Isha Jagadisha Akhilananda Swarupa Manesha Brahmananda Swarupa Isha Jagadisha Akhilananda Swarupa Isha Mahesha 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 Brahmananda Swarupa Isha Jagadisha Akhilananda Swarupa Jagadisha Akhilananda Swarupa Isha Mahesha Brahmananda Swarupa Isha 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 Jagadisha Akhilananda Swarupa Isha Mahesha.
Keep your hands open, sit with a slightly upturned face, eyes closed. Shivanage bandhana Yogeshwara Shivanage bandhana Bhuteshwara Shivanage bandhana Lingeshwara Shivanage bandhana Jagadishwara Bandhano Madheva Baharupiya Kandano Kandhano Ijiviya Kandhano Kandhano Ijiviya Yanjiva Veundhano Shivarupiya Tandhano Tandhano Gnanamrita Tandhano Tandhano Gnanamrita Tandhano Tandhano Gnanamrita. Take your own time. Take your own time. Slowly, very, very slowly. Open your eyes.
I certainly share the sense of wonder, of amazement, of astonishment at natural phenomena which tempts us to use the word miracle. A seed growing into a plant, a pregnant woman giving birth to a child who grows up to be a person. These are truly wondrous, and I will sometimes, in fact, use the language of a miracle. I'll say it's a miracle. Now, I actually don't mean that it's a miracle. It is language that helps to convey my awe and wonder. But there is a big difference between literally believing that it's a miracle and using the language of miracles, namely, what happens when you actually have to affect it causally. So let's say you, and I will speak to you, Sadhguru, you are, when it comes to turning seeds into edible food, we know that many civilizations, when there was a crop failure, when there was a drought, when there was a famine, when locusts came and ate the grain, they would utter prayers, they would sacrifice a goat, sometimes they would sacrifice a virgin, they would pray for a miracle. Fortunately, you don't do that. You quite admirably have a foundation that literally gets your hands dirty. There's nothing miraculous about dirt. And you have my admiration for taking dirt seriously, because the transformation of a seed into a stalk of wheat is not a miracle. It depends on having the right dirt. And hats off to you for taking dirt seriously. Likewise, if you have the miracle of a child and the child has a disease like leukemia, you could pray to a saint, you could climb up the stairs of a cathedral on your knees, you could set up a shrine, you could, as we say, pray for a miracle. That would be, I would submit, an immoral thing to do, knowing that there are ways of keeping that miracle of a child in existence by giving it the right drug that would get rid of the leukemia or cure the infection. And so even treating a child as a miracle, even treating a plant as a miracle, metaphorically, poetically, when it actually comes to action, to the need to do something to perpetuate this miracle, it is very important not to take the miracle language literally, but rather to see it as a matter of cause and effect, to worry about rainfall and soil and fertilizer and farming practices, to worry about the child's health, the appropriate drugs, the appropriate nutrition, the appropriate loving environment. Now, when it comes to consciousness, this is true even more significantly. So, Bala, you're a professor of anesthesia, you're an anesthesiologist, so you manipulate people's consciousness. I assume not with prayers, with seances, with sacrifices, but you actually apply physical cause and effect. You inject chemicals in people's bloodstream, you put a mask over people's faces and they breathe certain gases. If I were a patient undergoing surgery and needed general anesthesia, my consciousness would be turned off. I would very much like for it to stay off while I'm open on the operating table. I would very much like for it to come back when the operation is done. I sure hope you don't treat all of that as a miracle. I sure hope you don't say prayers. I hope you don't make sacrifices. I hope you control the mixture of gases and the timing and treat it as a matter of cause and effect. Please say yes. If you say no, I'm going to have my surgery done at Mass General, not Beth Israel Deaconess.
I think we got the distinction between what you're saying and what Sadhguru is saying. So Sadhguru wants to respond, I think. You want to pass the mic to him?
Well, I think we're coming from two different contexts. That's why I said probably in the Western religions, the word miracle is being used for lack of words. Don't… because I already kind of excuse myself saying I'm uncivilized. Miracle is a way of duping people. I'm not talking about the word miracle in that context, that's why I said there's a different way to look at life. If you look at everything as logical steps, our logical steps progress with whatever data we have. Nobody can claim they have data about everything that's life and the whole phenomena of creation. Nobody has. Neither the religious people nor the men of science know where the existence or the cosmos begins and where it ends. Nobody knows. Hello? Nobody knows. But somebody is bombastic enough to explain it all happened because of one person up there. Another is trying to piece it together, piece by piece. But how many pieces ever you gather? Because today modern science is recognizing this is a ever-expanding universe. If it's an ever-expanding universe, it doesn't matter how many pieces of the jigsaw you collect, you still don't have a full picture. So in that context, I'm saying we go as far as our logic and our data takes us. From there is a blind spot which we do not know, we just hope it happens. And sometimes we have found if you do certain things happen. Sometimes it doesn't happen. But the important thing is using the word miracle as a way to fool people to believe things and working through a logical process for all the phenomenal activity that we do in the world, there is no contest about that, there is no any difference about that. But coming to the consciousness, once again I would like to distinguish your awareness of yourself right now and consciousness are two different entities altogether. Your awareness is definitely a consequence of all the things that are happening in the brain. I've not looked because I don't have one, I'm only experiencing it through other people. So, I do not know all that, but definitely it's a consequence of what's happening. Things are firing up, we know. I may not know exactly where, how it's firing up, I know things are fired up within us, which is creating a certain awareness. So, this awareness is a consequence of activity, not just the brain. I wouldn't go with that. I think there is a brain right across. From your toes to your head, everywhere there is different levels of brain. I don't want to call it brain, we call this mental body. There is memory and there is intelligence right across. So, only if all this fires up, then you have an experience of life. How much it fires up will determine how profound an experience of life you have. This is a different aspect. We're talking about consciousness. That is not exactly an appropriate word in English language, because that's the only word we have as far as I know. Normally we call this chitta. Chitta means an intelligence without memory. It has no intent, but you can create any intent for it. With the same life energy, somebody will do evil things. With the same life energy, somebody will do wonderful things, because it has no intent. It's simply there, it empowers you whichever way. Let's say it's like electricity, you can make sound out of it, you can make light out of it, you can make whatever you want out of it. Just like that, the fundamental force which drives us has no intent. So, when we say consciousness, we are referring to that aspect of intelligence which has no intent because it has no memory. But if you give it memory, it will immediately gain an intent and a direction.